Welcome to the Generational Wealth Podcast. The average price of a new car is almost $50,000. That's a record high. In today's show, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you shouldn't buy a new car if you want to create generational wealth. All I need you to do is smash that like button. It only takes 2 seconds, but it goes a very long way towards growing this channel. Guys, welcome. It's me, Uzziah, your host. And today we're going to be talking all about why you shouldn't buy a new car. I know it sounds tempting. You want the new whip. But if you want to create generational wealth, you need to think twice. Prices are going through the roof and I want to show y'all how to win. So first, I want to give a big shout out to everybody who's joined my free session on insuring your way to wealth. How rich families use insurance to build a fortune. Guys, if you haven't been on the call yet, I don't know what to tell you. This is a free 1 hour private consultation where I will walk you through little known secrets about how wealthy families will use life insurance to create generational wealth for their families. I need you to make sure that you click that link in the comments below. If you guys are ready to take control of your financial future and see how all the big players do it, you need to join this call. It's absolutely free. You have nothing to lose. You all see the information on the screen. We ain't going to talk about it no more than that. I want to give a big shout out to all of my sponsors. Thank you to everybody who supports this channel. If you're wondering what it takes to be a sponsor, all you need to do is donate. I do these shows 3 times a week, guys, showing you all of the steps to take to create generational wealth. As someone who owns $1 million in real estate, I'm a best-selling author and an entrepreneur, and I want to show you how you can change your family tree. So with no further ado, let me tell you, if you get a lot of value from tonight's show, please do me a favor and tap the dollar icon directly below this live chat box. Please donate to keep this channel going. I work really hard to give you guys a lot of value, and I would surely appreciate your support. Cash App information is on the screen. Now, let's get into it, y'all, because we got a whole lot of ground to cover. I ain't going to waste no time. If you're on, leave me a comment. Let me know that you're here. Why you should not buy a new car in 2023. I know some of y'all not gonna like this, but trust me, I'm looking out for you. I've got 3 reasons why you shouldn't buy a new car, and let's talk about it. The number one reason why you shouldn't buy a brand new car is because of cost. The price of a brand new car is ridiculous. Car prices are at record high. The average price of a new car is close to $50,000. Guys, $50,000 for the average new car? Once upon a time, that was only for the best cars in the world. If you buy an expensive truck right now, that's $60,000 plus. Don't even get to talking about electric cars. That's 25% more than the average car. The average new car is 50 grand. Cars are now becoming a luxury for the rich and famous. Guys, I want to tell you, the average monthly payment for a new car is over $700 a month. That's nearly double what it was just a few years ago. Now, here's something that I want you to think about. Put this in perspective. For almost a decade, over the past 10 plus years, the average car payment in America was around $400 a month. And even then, that maxed out how much your average American household could afford. Guys, it's 2023. The average monthly payment on a new car is now $700 a month. I remember when most people wasn't paying that much for their monthly rent. One car payment is over 15% of the average family's monthly take-home pay. I'm gonna say that again. One car payment, just one. One car payment alone is over 15% of the average family's monthly take-home pay. That means you can't afford this. Look at how much the prices are going up over time. We just talked about what it was like back in 2019. Who knows what it's going to be like in the future? Guys, for these prices to have gone from $400 a month to now $700 for a new car on average, I have no idea what this thing is going to look like in the near future, but it's scary. And I want you guys to avoid this. This is a huge trap to stay in the rat race. I know there's so many of you who are programmed to think, I've gotta buy a new car. I won't be successful until I can drive that shiny new car down the street. But guys, for all of my generational wealth builders, I need you to think about opportunity cost. Now, what is opportunity cost? You know, Ariel, she be telling me about myself. She say, Uzziah, you got to break it down for the people. What does opportunity cost mean? Tonight on the Generational Wealth Podcast, we're going to talk about what opportunity cost means, y'all. Y'all want to know what opportunity cost means? Opportunity cost is what you're missing out on because you put your money to one thing over another. Opportunity cost is how much of an L you took because you put your money towards something that you shouldn't, and there was a better opportunity along the way. Shout out to my brother Yasha Allah. It's good to see you on today, sir. I've been missing you, man. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Those of y'all that are enjoying the show, please feel free to donate and show me some love. Your donations go a really long way towards growing this channel. Whenever you see Yasha Allah on these shows, please make sure that y'all show him a lot of love and respect because his donations are keeping this show going. I've got to say this again. The average new car cost $50,000. The average monthly payment for a new car is over $700 per month. This is astronomical. Some of you guys are not buying homes because now you're buying a home in the form of a car. Some of you guys are saying goodbye to generational wealth because you're taking all of your wealth and you're putting it into a hoopty. That's why we're talking about opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is whenever you have two things and you put your money into one thing, but you don't think about the cost of the other. You don't think about how much more you would have benefited if you would have put your money towards something else. I'm going to break down for y'all what it looks like if you're buying a brand new car in 2023. What is the opportunity cost of you buying a brand new car versus taking that same money and investing it in the stock market? Let's break it down. Spending $700 on a brand new car is sexy. It gives you so much satisfaction. Oh my God, I'm riding in style. It's convenient. but it also comes with a price. The opportunity cost of you putting that $700 towards a monthly car payment can cost you $1,000,000 in investing. Imma break this down. Let's say that instead of you putting your money into a brand new car, which is a liability, by the way, it's not making you money, it's losing you money. A liability is anything that's taking money out of your pocket instead of putting money in. That $700 that you're putting towards a liability every month could be invested into the stock market, S&P 500 index, like I've been telling y'all on the show, that typically generates 8 to 10% return on investment per year. I want y'all to hear me. You can put your money towards one thing that drops in value. We're gonna talk a lot more about that in just a second. Or you could take the exact same amount of money and you can put it towards an investment that has historically returned 8 to 10% per year on average. Which do you think will be better for you in the long run? For all of my people that's about building generational wealth, I want you to know this. If you took that same $700 that you put towards a new car and you put it towards an index fund over the next 30 years, if that index fund turns out the same 8 to 10% returns that it has over the past, who knows where the market will go? If you got those same returns, you would have made $1,200,000 on that money. Did you hear what I just said? If you took the same $700 and you put it into an investment that returned 8 to 10% over the next 30 years, you could earn over $1,200,000 in returns. Now, let me ask you something. Is that new car that you're about to take off the lot worth $1,200,000? I hope so if you're not investing. Because let's say that you had $700 a month and you put it into stocks and bonds at age 30. You invest for the next 30 years until you're 60 years of age. Now, let's just assume that there's an average return of 8%. You're getting an 8% return on your investment. Return on your investment is how much money the stock market is making you over time. It's building your wealth. If you're 30 years old and you invested $700 until you're 60 years old and you get an 8% return, that $700 that you were putting in per month could grow to $1,200,000 by the time that you reach 60 years old. That is a significant opportunity cost. The opportunity cost of your brand new $700 a month car note is $1,200,000. Are you willing to pay that price? See, this is the reason why when I was growing up, y'all, my dad, he didn't have the best car for a long time. And you know what he used to always say whenever people would dog his car out? They used to be clowning him, man. Rest in peace, pops. He used to always say, "I just need something to get me from point A to point B. I don't need it to look sexy." He would call his car Betsy. Betsy break down on him. "Oh, you know how Betsy do. She acting up today." But as long as that car could get him from point A to point B, it was all good. But some of y'all, you want to look so good, you're willing to pay over $1,000,000 to put on airs. It's not worth it. The opportunity cost of you buying a new car in 2023 can cost you $1,000,000. Just think about it. And listen, not only are you paying for the car note, you gotta think about the interest that's accumulating on that loan. You gotta think about the taxes and fees. Then you gotta think about the car insurance and maintenance. These are all of the things that goes into a car. I remember I was telling one of my guys last week, I said, "Man, most people don't even realize how expensive it is to own a car. I don't care if you got a Toyota, a Honda, a electric car, you're going to pay money. It is going to cost you something to keep that vehicle going." Now, some of y'all be buying cars and you don't do any maintenance, you don't do any repairs, then you gotta end up buying a brand new car after only a few years' time. But I want y'all to understand, things are only getting more expensive. The average interest rate on a brand new car is 5%. And guess what else? The average interest rate on a used car right now is 9%. The car industry is high as hell. Do y'all know what this means? What this means is the amount of money that you're gonna be paying for that car over time is going to be far more than the amount that was on the price tag when you first bought it. Don't let the sticker price fool you. You're gonna pay a lot more on the back end. Now, guys, I know everybody needs a way to get around, but there's so many things that you can do to avoid this. So don't think, "I got a car, everybody else got a car." This is how you get stuck in the rat race. If you're trying to break out of your 9 to 5, you need to think about avoiding traps just like this. Let me tell y'all something. The reason why over 80% of Americans hate their job is because they don't want to work there, but they have to because they have to pay their car note. They have to pay their car note, they have to pay their student loans, they have to pay all of these different expenses that they've racked up that they can't let go of. This is the reason why the first thing that I did when I got out of college was pay off over $95,000 in student loan debt. The Bible says that the borrower is slave to the lender. So if you have all of this debt racked up, you're going to be a slave to the machine. You're gonna be a slave to the rat race. So if you want to escape the 9 to 5 and be your own boss, I always tell you guys to get out of debt. And one of the worst ways that you can go into debt during this time is for you to buy a brand new car, and it's not worth it. Interest rates are still going up. The Fed keeps raising them by the month. Guys, if you haven't watched the show that I did about how the Federal Reserve keeps raising interest rates and how to prepare for that, you need to make sure that you check that out ASAP, because I already laid out how the Federal Reserve raising interest rates is going to affect you personally. It's going to affect you when you're trying to take out a loan and you're going to end up paying a lot more on that loan over time. Let me look at these comments. Okay, I'm seeing some comments. If y'all are on, make sure that y'all chime in. Let me know what y'all think about this. How many of y'all were planning on buying a new car before you saw this podcast? If you're just getting on, make sure that you smash that like button. Let me know what you plan to do. I'm sorry to burst y'all's bubble. I know y'all wanted to flex, but before you try to be out here flexing on social media, you need to think about the price that you're going to pay. The average cost of car insurance is $180 per month. Every car insurance carrier will tell you car insurance is more expensive on a brand new car. So now we got to do the math between car note, insurance, and gas prices. You're easily paying over $1,000 a month. Is buying a brand new car really worth it? Do you know how wealthy your family could be if you took that same $1,000 and invested it? Do you know how you could set up your children for generational wealth if you invested that money? You're taking all of that money and you're putting it towards a Chevy Tahoe. You're taking all of that money and you're putting it towards some car that you can't afford. Guys, you don't have to have the latest and greatest. This is how they get you. They make you take on all of these prices, and we're not even talking about the car maintenance. We ain't even talked about the prices on the car maintenance yet, y'all. I just been telling y'all about the car note, gas, and insurance. Here in the state where I live, you're gonna be paying anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 a year off top on maintenance. And I'm talking about basic stuff, oil change, service, rotate your tires. We're not even talking about you got transmission problems, you gotta replace an engine. Last year, the axle on my Mercedes broke, and I had to replace that. That was well over 1,000. So you guys gotta really consider this and count the cost. This is why I recommend buying a used car in cash. I know that sounds crazy, but this is what wealthy people do. When they buy a liability, they buy it in cash. They don't go into debt for something that's going to lose them more money over time. I don't know if y'all understand the difference between how wealthy people manage their money versus the middle class. The reason why I'm saying the middle class is because every episode I'm telling you about how the middle class is going to shrink and eventually turn into either the impoverished class, lower class, or there's going to be a portion of those people that go into the upper class. It's going to be the haves or the have nots. The thing that separates the haves from the have nots is smart financial decisions. We all make money. It's what you do with the money that matters most. I know what y'all are thinking. Uzziah, I don't make $500,000 a year. I can't buy no new car in cash. Well, you don't need to be buying no new car anyway. You need to be buying a used car. If you're not a millionaire, you have no business buying a new car. Real talk. A lot of y'all didn't fall into the okey doke about why you need a new car instead of a used car. This is how people stay broke. I'm telling you this. I don't have a car note. When you look back at every car I've ever driven, I always made sure that at some point down the line, that car note was done, whether it was off top or with whether it was within a matter of months. The car that I drove before this car that I'm driving right now, a Mercedes E-Class, The car that I had before that, which was a Toyota Highlander, I bought that in cash, and it took time to save for it. One of the biggest ways that people lose a lot of money is instant gratification. Whatever comes to mind right for the moment, they buy it right then and there. Whatever it is that you want for your life, whether it's a house, a car, you need to be planning years in advance. And for those of you that are saying, well, what if I go through some kind of emergency and I can't afford to wait for a few years? I got a car, it's totaled. This is why you need an emergency fund. This is why I'm always stressing the importance of you having a nest egg set aside so that if you fall on hard times, you can use your emergency fund to get back up. This is exactly what happened to me. Back before I got my Toyota Highlander, I drove a Honda Civic. And you know what people used to always tell me? Dang, Uzziah, when you getting a new car? Man, you ain't gonna look good in that. You gotta get you a truck, something that's gonna make you look sexy and make you look broke. I wasn't trying to pay for no truck. I wanted a car that was reliable, that helped me save on gas, that got me from point A to point B. Guys, when I was driving my Honda Civic, I was like 20 years old. What do I need to floss for at 20 years old? This is why I keep talking about instant gratification. You got hopefully your whole life to be able to build a lifestyle that's comfortable. You don't need to do it all today. You got to space this out. See, a lot of people think, well, okay, that's easy for you to say because look at the life that you have right now. But the life that I have right now wasn't the life that I had when I was paying off my student loans. When I was paying off my student loans, I was eating peanut butter sandwiches every day for lunch. I was walking to work. And so you've got to make sacrifices today in order to have a better tomorrow. The number one pattern of everyone that has generational wealth is that they built their wealth over time. Wealth is a long game. You don't come out of the womb and instantly you are an overnight success. It takes time, it takes years, it takes experience, y'all, okay? So if you cannot buy a used car in cash, you cannot afford it. And you damn sure can't afford no new car. Sorry. New cars, the average new car is $50,000. If you're not a millionaire, how can you even afford to pay that much money? So, but see, this is how they get you. Come into Joe's Auto Shop. You'll be able to get your brand new car right now. No money down. Then here you go, racing out there, and you will back yourself behind the worst loan, and you're stuck for the rest of your life. That one decision to get that brand new car, no money down, that could keep you in a job for the next 20 years. I know y'all don't hear me, and I know there's a lot of y'all saying, "Oh, but auto loans aren't even that long." Well, that's assuming that you pay yours off on time. A lot of people don't. And then what happens? Every time that you get a car, there's more debt that you're adding on top of that. Why are a lot of people in credit card debt? Because of the additions that they're making on their car, whether it's buying rims, whether it's adding in TVs, all of this crazy stuff. If you even have to repair your car, which you will, most people pay for repairs on credit. So you might have a certain length of your car note, but it's going to take you even longer than that to get past the credit card debt that you racked up off the car note. These are all things that you've got to consider. Buying a used car can give you significant savings over time. Some of y'all might be asking about leasing a car. The only time I recommend leasing a car is if you make a lot of money and you are driving a luxury vehicle that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, guys, why would I recommend you leasing a car in that case? Leasing is you're basically just renting the car. The car is not yours. You don't own it, but you have it on a lease where you will have it for a few years. The reason why I only recommend that you lease a car is if A, you make a lot of money and you're driving a luxury vehicle that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why? Because it makes no sense to spend that much money to buy a depreciating asset. It makes no sense to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars buying a liability. Now, some guys that are filthy rich, they'll do whatever they wanna do with their money. That's not the average person. Even if you are making a multi six-figure a year income, I only recommend that you lease a vehicle if you're driving a vehicle that is extremely expensive. More often than not, you just need to buy the car in cash. And the reason why this is so important is because of the next thing that I'm about to bring up. Before I get into that, let me go into Yasha Allah's comment. For those of y'all that are just joining, please make sure you smash that like button. Tonight, we're talking about why you should not buy a new car in 2023. Yasha Allah says, I bought mine before the recession, and yes, I do pay a lot. Oil change is $110 for mine. And so that's what you gotta think about. You gotta think about all of the expenses that comes along with that. You wanna make sure that you get yourself out of debt, guys. Trust me, I understand. You wanna have a ride. It'll cost a lot of money if you're Ubering it all around the world. I get it. But some of y'all, you're trying to live beyond your means. You're trying to live too high off the hog. You need to make sure that you go on monk mode for a few years before you get where you really want to get. When I'm saying monk mode, I'm saying if you can walk somewhere, walk. If you can catch a bike, catch a bike. If you need to hop on a bus, then get on the bus. Stop being so Hollywood and you mess yourself up. I had to make a lot of sacrifices before I was in the position that I'm in today. The success doesn't happen overnight. And the second reason why you shouldn't buy a new car in 2023 is because of something called depreciation. Depreciation is whenever what you've bought drops in value. Depreciation means what you own loses money. So, what does appreciation look like on a car? Well, according to Edmunds, a leading automotive research company, I know a lot of y'all have heard of them, especially you car gurus. According to Edmunds, a new car can depreciate by as much as 20% in 1 year. That's a 20% drop on the value of that car within the first year that you took it off the lot. As soon as you take it off the lot, it's already 15% lower. Can you afford that? You guys, one person might have had the same amount of money as you, and they're putting it into an index fund. You took your money and you put it towards a liability that depreciates. Who do you think is gonna make more money over time? Now see, here we go. In the next 20, 30 years, looking at this same person that has generational wealth, invested the same amount of money as you when you were putting your money into the car, but now because you don't have the wealth that they have, you know what you're gonna say? "Oh, must be nice. Not everybody's able to do it up like you. Us little people, we're still trying to make it." No, you wasn't, because when this person took the same amount of money and was putting it into an investment, when they were walking and driving around in a beater, you was trying to stunt. So guess what? You had your time. That's how the tables turn. See, at the time that you were trying to stunt flex and you thought that you was doing it up, this same person had to sacrifice. Maybe they had to stay in the Honda Civic. Maybe they had to stay in some kind of used car, maybe a hand-me-down. Maybe it wasn't the best of the best. And guess what? Probably whenever they were doing, they might have looked at you driving that new car and said, "Must be nice," but they had discipline. It's all about where you put your money. One of the biggest things that I want y'all to understand, if you wanna create generational wealth, you don't need all of the money, you just need to make the right decisions. There are stories about people who have never made more than $50,000 per year that invested their way into over $1,000,000 by the time they reach their retirement. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep, and this is one of the biggest traps to stop you from having any money. Depreciation is whenever you own something and what you own goes down in value. You wanna own things that goes up in value. That's why sometimes you'll notice celebrities, like, they'll buy certain cars like Bugattis or something that might actually appreciate because it's such a high-end car. Very few vehicles actually appreciate and go up in value. So, for most cars, you wanna be able to buy it in cash, so that way you can buy it lowest price possible, and you're not getting pimped by your car note from year to year. It adds up. A new car can depreciate by as much as 20% in its first year and by up to 50% over the first 3 years of ownership. Imma let that sink in. Just imagine that you wanted to get a new car that was a mid-sized SUV. Let's say that car was 50,000. According to Edmunds, that means that 20% depreciation that came in the first year, that's going to hurt you. Now keep in mind, it doesn't just stop at the 20%. That's just year 1. It's going down by 50% within the first 3 years of ownership. So if we're looking at these kinds of drops, that means that $50,000 car that you bought will be worth $40,000 after the first year. Y'all know how much it's gonna cost by year 3? By year 3, that same $50,000 car is now only worth $25,000. So whatever happens, if you fall on hard times and you wanna sell the car to make money, you're not gonna walk away with as much as you think if you bought a brand new car. See, a lot of people, they don't think about this. A lot of people think, "Oh, well, when I went and bought the car, I spent this much money." But you're not thinking about how the depreciation on the car takes the value down over time, and it doesn't take long. you lose 20% year 1, 50% by year 3. But let's say, on the other hand, you decided to get a used car. I know, it's boring. If you get a used car that's roughly around $27,000, if that car that you bought used has been well maintained and it still has low mileage, it's already gone through a lot of its depreciation. It already did what would have happened to you had you bought that same car brand new. This is the reason why wealthy people buy used cars. Guys, I'm always about you leveling up on your knowledge. There's a book called The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley. And in that book, he talks about how the average millionaire drives a Ford F-150 pickup truck. Now, I know you think the average millionaire drives a Ferrari, they got some supercar lined up, they got the best looking car that's on the block. That's a myth. Studies show that most people who drive luxury cars don't actually have wealthy status. They're just driving the car to perpetrate the fraud. So you gotta think, what are wealthy people really doing? Most wealthy people, not talking about the 1% of the 1% like Floyd Mayweather. I'm saying the average millionaire that's in America, they're smart enough to wait for that same car that you want that's sitting brand new on the lot right now. They're smart enough to wait for 3 years and let the depreciation hit so they can buy the car half price. Same car, same opportunity, but they just went about it a totally different way, man. This is how wealthy people win. They know how to play this game. If you're buying a brand new car, it's gonna depreciate by 20% in year 1. It's not worth the money. So if you had bought a used car that was 3 years old and it cost $27,000, it's still well maintained, it ain't got a lot of mileage on it, even if there still was limited depreciation on that used car of 5%, that same used car would be worth $24,000 after the 1st year, $22,000 after the 2nd year, and $21,000 after the 3rd year. The price and worth of that car is still the same in the range. It's not any massive drop, guys. Let me paint the picture for you so you understand what I'm saying. If you bought a new car, you would lose $25,000 within the 1st year of having it. The average new car is $50,000. A used car would only lose $5,000 in the same period. So you tell me, would you rather lose $25,000 or only $5,000? That means that somebody that bought a used car instead of a new car could save $20,000 over 3 years. Would you like to save $20,000 of your money? This is what you gotta think about up front, because y'all know how it is. By the time you get to that car lot, that's when they gaming you. That's when that car salesman is trying to sell you on all the reasons why you need a brand new shiny car. "Oh, look at how you're going to come across in front of your coworkers. You're gonna seem so great. They're gonna wonder if you got a brand new raise and a new promotion. Just buy this new car that you've got. You look like money." but then you're going into debt more and more and more, not realizing that you could have saved tens of thousands of dollars along the way. I don't even need to tell y'all how your money could have looked if you took those tens of thousands of dollars in savings and put it into an investment. Y'all come on this generational wealth podcast for a reason. You claim that you want to have enough to pass down to future generations. This is how you do it. If you're going to create generational wealth, you've got to make sacrifices so that the next generation that comes after you can win. Do you know the reason why most people don't have generational wealth? Is because they spend it all in their time buying Jordans, buying nice watches. And there's nothing wrong with having something nice, y'all, but you cannot blow all that you have. What I'm saying is most Americans, they spend all that they have right now. 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So if you're blowing everything that you have right now, how are you going to have any money to be able to pass down for future generations? And this is the reason why I have that free call about how rich people use insurance to build wealth. If you have not been on that call, I don't know why you're slacking, but this is something that you need to get control over. If you're trying to build a financial future, you need to have insurance. And you know what's so crazy, brother Yasha? Everybody understands why they need car insurance, but nobody understands why they need life insurance. Does that make sense? Why is it that you want to put more insurance on a car that depreciates in value than yourself, and you're passing down a legacy to your kids, or so you say? Isn't it funny how the American economy will make it illegal for you to not have car insurance if you drive a car, but there's nothing wrong if you put no protection on your own life? They want us to be poor. I'm tired of telling y'all that. This system is designed so only a few people really win. I gotta tell this to you guys. The way that this economy is structured is so that only a few royal families really come up. America was not built for everybody to eat. Now, in America, you get life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. You have opportunities to build something here. But the way that the economy is set up is somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. That's capitalism. So if there's only but so much money in circulation, you have to make wise decisions with the money you have. Is that $700 going to go towards creating generational wealth for you and your children's children? Or is that going to go towards your brand new car that you won't even want to drive in the next 5 years? Think about how many times people will do this over a lifetime. You are literally cementing your losses because all the money that you could have had to pass down, it's all being sucked up by these car prices. Everything is only getting more expensive over time. Now, guys, if that wasn't enough, I'm gonna give you the third reason as to why you should not buy a brand new car in 2023. I hope it's making sense. The reason why you should not buy a brand new car in 2023 is because of technology. Hear me and hear me clearly. The number one excuse that people say on why they think they need a brand new car is because I need something reliable. I need something safe. BS. We're living in 2023. There's been technology on all of these cars over the past few years. Guys, we are 23 years past the year 2000. What are you talking about? There's no reliability. All of these cars have technology, but the way that they get you is they make you think, "Oh, well, if you don't have 2023 technology in a brand new car, then you don't have technology at all." That's stupid. Used cars have become more reliable over the years. Why? Because the manufacturers have improved the quality of the car, and a lot of used cars are a lot more durable. That's the reason why you've been seeing the used car market skyrocket over the past 3 years. Look at everything that happened when COVID broke out. People wasn't getting that many new cars. There was only but so many that you could get. Inventory was going out, and guess what happened? When all of that happened, with all those lockdowns that came 2020 and on, you know what the car companies did? They stopped producing so many cars. Because they stopped producing so many cars, guess what happened to the price? The price went up. For every car that they did produce, they started to make it more expensive. That's the reason why the average new car, not talking about luxury, the average new car is $50,000. And you think that you need to have a brand new car because of technology? Give me a break. There's so much technology that's in these cars before. Think about 2022, 2021, 2020. You think they just started making technology right now? No. So there's all of these good designs, advanced technology in used cars. These cars, they require less maintenance than they used to, and it's already proven to have reliability over time. Think about all the car industries right now, the car companies that track the health of used cars. Think about Carfax. Think about Carvana. All of these used car companies, they actually understand the history of the vehicle. This is not like how it used to be, where you're going to some mom and pop spot and you're being sold a car by a snake oil salesman and you have no assurance that the car even works. There's so many laws and mandates now that's put on these big car companies that even when you drive a used car, they have to make sure that it runs effectively. That's the reason why used cars are in. The reason why used cars are in is because there's so much technology now, even in a used car, because the government made it mandatory that it had safety. So let's talk about that. When you think about cars today, right? This is not the Stone Age, y'all. This is 2023. We're talking about cars that have advanced safety features like airbags, anti-lock brakes. It has some kind of stability control over the car. I bought a 2012 Mercedes-Benz, and if ever I get tired while I'm driving, the car is going to alert me and tell me I need to wake up. That was a 2012. It's like a dinosaur now in 2023. So if that kind of technology was going on back then, what's stopping you from getting a used car just from 3 years ago with 50% depreciation marked off? And Imma tell you, for any of y'all that are trying to buy any kind of luxury vehicle, you definitely need to buy it used because the retail value versus the depreciation value is night and day. There's no reason for you to buy a brand new luxury vehicle because you're going to lose so many tens of thousands of dollars within a few years' time. Guys, all of these safety features, they are in used cars. The same features that are in a new car for safety are in these used cars to prevent accidents and protect riders in the event of a crash. They didn't start making airbags in 2023. And the government has required these used car companies to sell safe cars, to have safety features. So when you think about these new cars, you really need to know that a lot of these new cars, their technology is gassed up. What do I mean when I say gassed up? No pun intended. When I'm saying gassed up, I'm saying the technology that's being put into some of these new cars in 2023, it's not worth the price. It's not useful. It's not even beneficial to the driving experience. So let me ask y'all a question. Have y'all rented a car recently? This is assuming that you don't have a brand new car. And you notice that the car that you rent has a big touch screen on the front of it. You got to drive, you got a steering wheel, you got a gas pedal, you got a brake, the car works. Even in all of the cars from the last decade, they've got screens in the cars, a lot of them, but it don't gotta be a whole computer monitor sitting at the front of your car. You don't need that to drive. But they're adding all of this stuff in because they know that people are consumers, that they'll waste their money, and if you gonna buy it, then, hey, they gonna sell it. But you don't need that. A lot of these touch screen displays that they're putting out now be getting people into car accidents. You get so caught up looking at TV on your car, you're not even focusing on the highway. So these are things, guys, that I really want y'all to think about. Like, I'm not trying to rain on y'all's parade. I'm just trying to keep it a buck. If you're trying to build generational wealth, do not buy a new car. And if you do have a new car, sell it or get out of debt. It's as simple as that. Because as the market gets worse, you're going to wish you made better decisions. I'm just warning y'all. I did a show this past Monday. Shout out to everybody that watched. If you didn't watch that show on Monday, you need to watch that show because it's very important. I predicted, brother Yasha Ali, you gotta watch it, sir. I predicted on that Monday show that there was going to be a report that inflation increased. And sure enough, next day, what happened? There was a report that showed that inflation increased. And so now the Federal Reserve is going to take more aggressive action to cool down the market. The Federal Reserve that controls economic spending, whether or not the economy is in a recession, they're going to do more that can have a direct effect to you. I talked a lot about it on my last show. Make sure you check out that podcast. Make sure that you click the link below, if you're just now getting on. Make sure that you, smash that like button. Okay, look at what Brother Yasha Allah said. He said, "I got that. It's just standard, but I didn't get all the big whistles added." Oh, you know they're gonna add on them bells and whistles for you if you want them. 'Em. They're gonna add on all those, new features. So this is the third reason why you shouldn't buy a new car. A lot of these new cars have excessive features that you don't even need. It's purely cosmetic. It does not add real value to the driving experience. Now, again, I want you to consider that all of these new technologies might not be fully tested out. I'm sure you have heard stories. Some of these technologies, they're so quick to get out in the market, but it's not fully tested, so you don't even know if it's going to work. It's not fully reliable, and guess what? If you get a brand new car, all this new technology that they're putting in, you're gonna be paying top dollar for expensive repairs. I want you all to think about all of these hybrid and electric cars that are coming out. This is the way of the future. All of these hybrid and electric cars, they might have advanced batteries and motors that can be very expensive to repair. You gotta think, how much would it cost to replace one of those batteries? This is not just talking about your average battery that you can get from Pep Boys. So if you need to replace a battery on an electric vehicle, how much is that going to cost? If you're trying to get it out the mud, you don't need an electric car. You don't need that right now. Right now, you need to build, guys. I want you to understand this, man. You don't have to fake wealth in America. You actually can do wealth building. You just got to make the right move. And it's really not rocket science. You just gotta stop following the Joneses. You can't be looking at what everybody else is doing because guess what? The large portion of Americans are broke, and it's because of decisions like this that put you in the poorhouse. Be willing to live frugal today so you can live comfortably tomorrow. This is how to do it. Imma put a link up to this panel because I need you to talk to him, brother Yashala. They think I'm trying to wreck they party. I need you to if possible, sir, I need you on this panel because I really want you to stress the importance of delayed gratification, making the right decisions today for a better tomorrow. So again, think about this. When you talk about all of this technology that they're putting into the cars right now, it's going to be expensive to maintain. Don't need an electric car right now. You don't need a self-driving car. That's a luxury. Unless you're balling, you can't afford it. So, guys, listen, even though some of these features, they are really nice to have, it's important that you count the cost before you make a purchase. I want you to really think about that. When you count the cost, you gotta really ask yourself, are you on a financial level where you can pay that type of money out of pocket, or are you gonna fake the funk just to look good and rack up a lot of debt? When you buy a used car, you wanna look for cars that have features that are useful and reliable, because when you can buy a used car that have the same features, you can avoid all of the excess money charges. You can avoid a lot of the fluff. You go and look at those used cars, you wanna focus on the vehicles that are extremely reliable, that have low mileage, that have very low that have a lot of good maintenance on it. It's been well kept, but it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that are overrated or unnecessary. Okay? So, I want you guys, once again, to think about the 3 reasons why you shouldn't buy a brand new car in 2023. You shouldn't buy a brand new car because of cost, depreciation, and technology. These new cars cost an arm and a leg, with a new average car being $50,000, it simply isn't worth it. And if you're going to put that kind of money towards something, why wouldn't you put it towards an investment that your family can prosper from? You can prosper, y'all. $700, 30 years, $1.2 million potential. It's all about where you put your money. Then you gotta remember the cost of depreciation. The minute you take that car off the lot, it's gone down in value significantly. Are you willing to buy a brand new car that can drop 50% in value in the first 3 years? That's something that you gotta consider. Lastly, you gotta think about the technology factor. Everybody makes the excuse that they need a brand new car so they can be safe. Come on, guys, we're living in 2023 right now. This ain't talking about no horse and buggy. If you get a 2020 vehicle, that's not the end of the world. In fact, that's going to still put you in the top 1% of people in this planet that have access to technology and transportation that can get them around on a very comfortable level. I just wanna be real, y'all. Cars and trucks are unaffordable for most Americans. And if you decide to ignore this message, don't be surprised if that stops you from creating generational wealth. Not time to buy a car. I'm telling you this right now. Unless you are in dire need and you've exhausted all the methods of transportation and you can afford to buy it in cash, this is not the right time to buy a car. The market is very expensive. The economy is still going up. Prices are rising, and you're going to take on a very big risk. Now, I want to let y'all know something. There's a rumor that new car prices are expected to drop by 5% before the end of the year, but don't bank on it. Just keep your eyes on the market, consider your options, and do your homework before you buy anything. I warned you. Brother Yashala, you with me? What's going on? Before I add you in, Brother Yashala, big shout out to my brother Roy Lyra, texting the Israelite for the $10 sponsorship. Thank you so much, my brother. Really appreciate it. For those of y'all that are on, I just gave you 3 reasons why you should not buy a new car in 2023. I know I rained on y'all's parade, but then when you start saving and investing all that money, you're gonna thank me. Brother Yashala, what's going on, sir? Good to see you. How are you?
Shalom, Elder. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can. I can hear you now. I was just getting my audio set up. It's good to see you, sir.
You too. I was busy, but I was still working on my truck Monday. So, but uh, but you're correct on the prices. They're sky high. That's just where it is. Recession is sky high. Parts cost more money if they can even have the part. For some parts you have to wait 2 weeks just to get it in. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you said, when they had the COVID, like you said, they stopped making a lot of things. That's where it
Right.
was, and they wasn't even worried about the proportions. Big trucks are concerned, semis. They wasn't even worried about the older trucks. They was pushing the newer trucks for higher prices. You know what I mean?
Right.
And people don't understand that it costs maintenance costs. We had that cold spell. My battery alone, my pickup truck was $200. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's two hundred
Mhm.
dollars. You know what I'm saying? It was like $200 after the $49.99. They said, nah, bro, it's not happening. It's $200. You know what I mean? Especially if you got a
It's crazy.
pickup truck. You know what I mean? So, and I got a pickup truck because I need a pickup truck. What I do. You know what I mean? stuff like that, like you said too. But I got to understand, make all changes at least $100, at least 100 for me. You know what I mean? I'm like 100, I can get the 49.95 special. I'm used to that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And the way the mark is, like you said, you gotta wait. You know what I mean? And I waited for years to get this pickup truck, and now on that, I know how to buy a car. Cause my dad was a car salesman for over 40 years.
Okay. So you
Right.
savvy in that car market.
Right. And then I took a course from another guy who teaches how to buy, what to look for extra. And that's why I didn't want the bells and whistles. I don't need all that. I don't need electric seats, man. I can do it with
Right.
my hand and push myself, and I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I don't need heated seats. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I don't mind riding my car and you got the heat on, heated seats, and you start smelling the funk. I don't need that.
Right.
You don't know. You know what I'm saying? But and, and like you said earlier, they make it so where that if you want the extras, all they gotta do, I look like, just pop it out and put a part in there. You can have, like, really to get,
Right.
but they're gonna charge you $5,000, $2,500. Now I'm
Mhm.
good, bro.
Yeah.
I don't
All
need
those
all that.
add-ons.
Right? I don't need all that. I'm good with the basics. That's it.
I'm so happy that you said this, sir, and thank you so much for chiming in on the podcast because one thing that you pointed out was you got the pickup truck because you needed it for your line of work. Now, something that a lot of people don't know is that the best way to really make those kind of purchases is if you can buy it up under your business, especially if you're either doing a buy or a lease, because you get a lot more tax write-offs in doing that.
Right.
If you can buy a vehicle or lease a vehicle and you can prove that, hey, this vehicle is for your business travel, then you'll be able to get a lot more tax write-offs by buying it under an LLC than
Correct.
you would as a personal consumer, because that's when you're going to pay for it with the highest taxes. And see, again, these are all things that a lot of wealthy people, they do whenever they buy certain kind of cars. Like, remember how I was saying earlier, a lot of people, they might buy like a Ferrari or a Rolls Royce, but they're not buying it in cash. They're getting it on a lease because it's a multi six-figure car, costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they know it's not worth paying all of that in cash. So they'll take a lease, but they'll put the lease under their business, and then they'll get tax write-offs from leasing that car every year. That's the most affordable way to be able to drive one of those high-end luxury cars.
Yes, that's true. Now, I do think, if you don't understand that, listen, I'm old school, so I learned a lot of old stuff, and you taught me a lot of new ways, which I didn't know. I had to go and do research and read, and I saw it. Like, no, but I could have time I come see you. I write all that off. I'm sorry, everything's right off. The food, the gas, everything for me is a write off. That's
Yes,
just the
sir.
way it is. And you taught me that, because you know what I'm saying. I had to put things in place first to get
Right.
all of that, which I did not know. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't know. So I'm teaching my brother the same thing because he's old school too. We came up from working. We started working at 16, 14 years old. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We didn't have internet. So I'm trying to teach him, and I hear it in him, but I'm more patient now to show him, bro, that's the old way, this is the new way. Now he sees it. You know what I
Right.
mean? But people don't understand that, well, you got two big trucks. No, one's a big truck semi, one's a pickup truck. I might have to get my own parts. You're not gonna put big parts in your car. It's not gonna happen. Or a big
Right.
tire in your car. It's not gonna happen. It does not. You know what I mean? And
Yes,
stuff
sir.
like that. So, but even in that, everything just costs now, man. It's like, no way. I can't. You gotta make right decisions, like you said.
Yeah.
Gotta make, what we do, spending costs, whatever costs, you gotta make right decisions. If you don't, you'll be overboard. Before you know it, you about there in a tent, homeless.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quick, before I say something on that, I want to give a big shout out to my brother Kanan, all the way out in Canada. Shout out to you for the $20 Canuck buck. He said, salutations, good content, watching from afar. Thank you so much for my brother for tapping in. For those of y'all that are just now joined, tonight we're talking about why you should not buy a new car in 2023. I outlined 3 reasons why that's going to stop you from creating generational wealth. And I want you to really run this down for him, Brother Yasha Allah. I think a lot of our people don't understand the value of opportunity cost. Can you tell them a little bit about that? Just to recap, opportunity cost is whenever you put your money towards one thing, but you could have put it towards another. I think a lot of people haven't done the math that if the average car is $700 a month, that same $700 portioned over the next few decades would actually turn into $1 million if you were getting the same kind of returns that the market has always gotten of 8 to 10%. I know that doesn't sound too appealing to a lot of young folk right now in the moment, but I just want you, with your experience, walk them through how much they could have benefited had they made the right decisions long term.
You benefit a lot from it because you're learning to invest something that you see in the returns. My dad's a car salesman. He has 2 degrees in college, psychology and business management. The first thing he told me is, I can tell you, which I can do it today too, because I've been around him, whether that person has good credit he's going to buy or not in 15 minutes.
Wow.
And he said 9 to 10 times they're going to be overboard because they, like you said earlier, I want the glamour. I want it for now. You know what I mean? Not years later, you know what I'm saying? They're overboard, not looking at, well, it's cost too much money. It's cost more than my rent. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, get a vehicle instead of $700 a month, get one for $300 a month and put the rest into, like you said, and the savings, interest, and stuff like that. Like you said, if you do that, you'll be better off in 10, 15 years, you'll see the results. Because people see me like, no, bro, I've been doing this for a long time. It ain't happen overnight. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. People come up, what about trucking? Listen, bro, like I tell all the time, this is a lifestyle. It's not a job. And it does not happen overnight. Stop listening to YouTube. I'm telling you from experience. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? When you break down, it's 20 minus 20 degrees outside, you got to get up the side of the road or keep warm, you're going to learn the hard way. You know what I mean? But it took years to get here.
Right.
And you pushed me farther by learning your courses. I even pushed me even farther. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have this growing up. People got today, they don't understand that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they want it now. I want it right now. I want to look at next week.
Yeah.
I want it right now. And like you said earlier, my dad says, when that car hits off the property, the first time it hit the regular street of the property, that's already $7,000 gone depreciation. Done deal.
Out the window. Out the window.
And my dad just retired 4 years ago.
Wow.
He never bought a brand new car. Matter of fact, he didn't even own one.
Are you serious?
He owned 2 because he paid cash, like you said. Lincoln Continental back in the day, you know how they do that, Lincoln, lay it back. And he bought a Mazda cash, period. After that, he never bought a brand new car. He only bought one when he retired, cash, and he got a great deal because he's a car salesman. That's it. He put all the money in the bank for what? I'm not going to do that because he knows.
And that's what I want him to think about, sir. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just going to let him know success leaves clues. If someone has worked for 40 years in the car industry, don't you think that they're making that move for a reason? Why do you think that a successful car salesman for 40 years knows all the ins and outs of the game would decide, hey, out of anything that I could do, I'm going to buy this car and I'm going to buy it in cash? He already knows how the game is played. And that's the reason why I'm trying to tell him. If you don't know how this game is played, they're going to run game on you.
Correct. And
And
that's
you
where it
can
is.
sell cars all day long, and people could buy it right off the lot, brand and shine new, and put it on credit. But the people that are selling the cars, they're buying it out in cash.
Correct. Because the repo man will always keep a job. That's the way it is. The salesperson
Mm,
don't care nothing about your overhead. It's
right.
about the sell, the
Yeah.
sell, the sell, the sell. Once you once you sign your name, that's the way it is. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Because they get paid by the bank. They don't care. That's the way it is. You know what I mean?
You know,
But
you
but,
no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
but like you said, you got to know. Like when I bought mine, I know what time of year to buy. Cause my dad, I would never buy a car without that year. Before we had tabernacles, that's why I bought my car before that. That's the time to buy because the price
Right.
is going to drop. I'm going to make the
Right.
deal.
Yeah.
I'm going to call people. Don't contact me anything unless this is what I want. Don't change my mind. If anything else, I don't want to hear it because he taught me. So I know what I'm looking for. And then I still call him first, regardless. Before I sign my name out at the dealership, and I have my dad on speakerphone call over the last stuff because he's been doing it for years.
Absolutely. Now let's look at what Brother Kanan just said out in Canada. Brother Kanan says we paid off two different cars. I think that he meant cars right here instead of debts. I got you, my brother. We paid off two different cars cash because of the interest that was adding up.
Right.
It feels good knowing that I am paying myself that interest. Now, I bet because if you're paying interest on two different cars, all right, we definitely talking about hundreds of dollars bare minimum. And this is the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize, Brother Yasha Allah. What is the long-term effect of that money staying with you versus it going towards making these car companies rich? When you pay these cars on that monthly note, that's what they want you to do. You get the best benefits often when you pay it in cash, especially if you've already gotten out the depreciation out of the car, if you know how to play this game. And one of the big things that I want the people to really focus on, Brother Yasha Allah, is we're not saying that you can never have a nice car.
Right.
We're just saying understand the timing of it. See, a lot of times people think when I do this podcast, I'm saying, oh, you can never, drive a nice car. You can never buy a new car. But like I said, you want to think about, okay, when is the right timing versus everything else that you've got to do on the road to building wealth. So, for example, when I started making money, I could have been just like a lot of people I went to college with and bought a brand new car. That could have been the first thing that I did. But instead, I took my money, I built up an emergency fund, and then I paid off that $95,000 in student loans. When I paid off that $95,000 in student loans, that opened up a whole new world for me. So when I was debt free by age 23, that gave me the rest of my life to invest, contribute, give back to the church. You have a lot more options when you're out of debt. And so I first got myself out of that debt. Then I invested in real estate. See, even a lot of people, Brother Yashal, I'm trying to tell them, a lot of people, the minute that they make a dollar, the first thing that they're going to do is spend it. They don't think, okay, well, if you have the money, what would be one of the best ways that this money can grow? How can you make your money work for you? So when I had paid off my student loans, which was easily more than the cost of my monthly rent, that money I then put towards investing in my first real estate property in North Austin. I had my first investment property where I was living out of one side of a duplex before I ever bought a luxury car. But that takes discipline. It takes patience to be able to say, okay, you know what? If I start today, I can still have the things that I want to have at a very young age. But you see, a lot of times, and I know you're going to say it better than I do, Brother Yashala, you be getting on my generation. A lot of times, people in this generation, it's like everything got to be right now. No, I got to drive the nice car right now. I can't wait 5 years. I can't wait 10 years. But it's like, bro, if you would just have just a little bit of patience. See, the thing about it, especially with cars, and I know that you will feel me on this. I tell you what, man, a car feel a hell of a lot better if you don't owe no note on it. When
Oh
I
yes. Oh
when I
yeah.
drive my car, the thing that I love so much about it is I know I don't owe anything on it. The car ride, it hits different when you know that you got the title in the glove box. But if you've bought something that's now become your ball and chain, you actually hate the thought of that car, because every time that you go to a job that you don't like, the first thing that you think about is, damn, I'm at this job because of this car. I wish I didn't do this. And so I'm just trying to tell them, Brother Yasha Allah, there's so many articles. People end up buying homes, they regret it. People end up buying cars, they regret it. All because they went into it thinking that if they just get this fantasy car, then that's going to make them feel happy in life. But it only made them more miserable, because now they just signed up for 20 more years of work only to pay off something that's not giving them any money in return. It ain't doing it. I'm just letting them know.
You're.
Am
I'm laughing.
I lying?
You're not lying, because me and one of my coworkers talked about it today, and the same thing you said. Like my semi, my last payment is September. I'm being
Right.
happy camper. But still in this business, I have a ride for so many years of tax deductible. After that, I don't get anything. So I had to know, like you said, sell it or get another one, or see the appreciation I make out of the taxes. And I came in before COVID on the bottom end, and people came after where the trucks are higher, like $4,000 a month. Trucks are already parked.
Yeah.
The people at my yard already parked. Tell them come get it. That's just the way it is. Because $4,000, essentially, prices reduce everything. You know what I mean? Because people, they buy them, like you said, don't realize what these things cost. Like, I'm working on a truck Monday. I'm halfway in the mud. We had a lot of rain in the mud and the water to fix it myself, because they want
Right.
to charge me too much money. I can't do that. I might be older, but I can fix it. Might take me some hours. I'll be wet and cold, but I can do it. But
I,
because it's just, you got to know. You got to know. Don't just spend, spend, spend. You just can't do it. You
and
know
I,
what I mean? Just, go ahead.
no, I was just going to point this part out. Brother Kanan came and said he was talking about debts when he said he had paid off two different debts. He had paid off two
Oh,
different debts. He paid off the car and he paid off the credit card. Hey, shout out to you, Brother Kanan, because man, I tell you, those are two things right there. You keep those around, ooh, it'll drain you. Like I was telling them a little bit earlier, Brother Yasha Allah, and for any of y'all that want to get on this panel, that hop on with me and Brother Yasha Allah. We'll get more people on here. Y'all know how we do it. Click the link in the comments below. Hop in on the discussion. But a lot of times when it comes to that car and the credit card, they go hand in hand. A lot of times people want to go to the car wash. What they're going to use? They're going to use the credit card.
mm-hmm.
You know, they buy some kind of carpet for the car or something, whatever. They're going to use a credit card. If they're getting a repair on that car, they're doing maintenance on that car, oil change, they're going to load that credit card up. And a lot of times, this is how they know how to work the system, because they know the minute that you get one thing, you're going to get another. And that's one of the things that I really want a lot of people to understand. A lot of times, it's just about the powers that be putting you through the system of going into debt. Because if they can start you off at a very young age by convincing you that you've got to go to college, you're already on the hook with Sally Mae. Then they want you to get the nice house. Then they want you to get the nice car. You're just loading up a ton of debt everywhere you go. Am I saying nobody should go to college? No. Am I saying nobody should, have a nice house? No. What I'm saying is make sure that you play the game so that way the game doesn't play you. A lot of people, they end up buying all of these things and they do it based upon the narrative that was told to them. They don't use critical thinking and say, okay, well, before I decide to go to college, am I actually going towards something that's lucrative in the marketplace?
Right.
Am I doing this because my parents told me to do it and I don't even actually have any plans? I'm just going there to waste time. If I'm going to buy a brand new car, have I thought about what these expenses are going to look like? Brother Akaman says, as myself, once I paid off my car, I continue paying myself savings, investments, etc. And that's what I want y'all to see. Notice how whenever you hear about people that pay off their debt, the number one thing that they keep saying is that now allows me to invest. A lot of times, most people only have enough to do one or the other. If the average car note right now is $700+, you don't have enough money to be able to make big investments and make this big car payment. So if you're going to have to choose one or the other, which one are you going to choose to protect your financial future? Shout out to Akaman. Good to see you on, my brother. For those of y'all that are just getting on, make sure that you smash that like button. Tonight, we're talking about why you should not buy a new car in 2023. If you have not yet done so, please make sure that you donate to the channel. If you donate through Cash App, use $Gen Wealth Podcast. Leave me a comment and let me know if you've donated through Cash App so that way I can shout you out and show you some love. If y'all want to donate through YouTube, all you got to do is tap the dollar icon directly below the comments. Whoever gives the highest donation for the show will be the official sponsor for tonight's podcast. Now, Brother Kanan just said, now my credit score is over 800. Credit scores go up to 900. Don't know why. Yeah, and a lot of people, they get faked out by that too, Brother Yashala. You know how that works. A lot of people, they go into debt unnecessarily because somebody hit them with the okie doke and said, okay, you know what? Go out and buy this crazy purchase because you need to build your credit. A lot of people they fall for the okie doke on that. You got anything to tell them?
Yes, because like on the other show you had about buying, I was gonna buy an RV camper, just me. All my kids are grown. I don't think I'm gonna stay here. I guess I'm planning to move out to Texas. At least I'm buying my camper where I get some return. I don't want to pay no apartment. I got it right here, $4,000. I'm not getting any return out the deal. Right. You know what I'm saying? I can buy a camper, and that's mine. I get some return investment in that. And they got some nice campers today. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. They got some nice campers. And my payment is like $700 a month just for a camper. But I had to look at the recession. And I went in there, like you said, talked to the people, sat me down. Oh, your credit is like, oh, we can get you one today. I'm like, nah, not right now. The session's right now. Give me after Passover. I told them, then I'll check with you. They still call me every day, every week. Hey, you come on in. We got a new one coming in. I'm like, no, I'll wait. Don't worry about it. I'll wait. Because I'm looking at recession first. I got to make sure that prices jump back up for me, get in that extra debt. You know what I mean? Because the camera they got today, everything, like you said, everything's electronic. Just press a button, levels itself, pushing itself. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But that's return, like you said. I'm looking at returns. If I can't look at the returns, I don't want it. Right. My car, my pickup truck, return. I pay my business credit card. Boom. I get returns off that. You know what I'm saying? Everything I do, gas, return. And like you said, Elder, if you're not looking for investments, you're always not going to have that cash. You can't do anything else. You can't, you know?
Correct. And a lot of times, Brother Yasha'Allah, people think that when we talk about this, it's so that way, you could be Daddy Warbucks. It really ain't that. It's people really just don't understand how expensive America really is. A lot, man.
Yes.
I'm at Jack in the Box a few days ago, Brother Yashala. Late Saturday night, I take my wife to Jack in the Box. We going through the drive-through. A burger's like $10, and I'm in Texas. I'm like, come on, man. What the hell is this? I'm like, I can't even imagine how much it's going to cost just in a regular restaurant to be able to have something. $10 for a burger, bro. I'm not even talking about the combo. Just for the sandwich only, $10. And I'm like, if y'all need to be on Generational Wealth Podcast just so that way you can afford to eat a burger. We're not even talking about no luxury car. But these are the things that I'm trying to show. I'm trying to show most people, because they're so loaded in debt, they really don't understand how much you really need to set aside just to be able to afford basic expenses in cash. You want to try to cash flow your way through this life, because the more debt that you rack up, the harder it's going to be for you to get ahead. So thank you, my brother. I appreciate
And,
having you on as always.
and I'm going to say one
Yes, go
quick thing
ahead.
you said. On the road, it's $14 for a meal. And I really don't eat
Can't
like
do it.
that because now you step in a big truck. And so, like you said earlier, I let people know I'm real. I already told that elder. I still eat this today. So everybody don't think I'm lying. I still snack on this today. I wait till I get home. I can go to a regular store and get a good meal. But I eat this
Hold up.
today because out here, I'm not going to give you $14 for a burger and fries. I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. I just can't.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? That's not me. You know what I'm saying? I go to a restaurant and get a whole barbecue plate of beef and chicken for $12. Come on, man. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
And people just don't see how all of this adds up. So thank you, my brother. Appreciate the support as always. Also, I want to give a big shout out to Brother Kanan. It looks like he might be trying to take the throne on today's podcast, Brother Yashal. All right. Shout out to Brother Kanan chiming in with the extra $10 Canuck buck on top of the $20 one that he had before. It looks like he's going for that top donation spot, y'all. For those that are on, please make sure that you donate. All you got to do is tap that dollar icon directly below. Whoever gives the highest donation for tonight's podcast will be the official sponsor. Much love to you always, sir. Looking forward to seeing you on the next show, Lord willing. All right, now. So, y'all, are you still going to buy a new car in 2023? You might regret it. Make a wise decision. There are 3 reasons why you shouldn't, and just make sure you follow those steps. Think about the cost. Think about the depreciation. Think about how safe modern used cars are. This is not the Stone Age. If you buy a car from 5 years ago, that's still in really great condition, guys. Okay. So thank y'all so much for tapping in. For those of you that got so much value from this platform, please make sure that you share this video. I know everybody could probably think about a family member or a friend that's about to mess themselves up and go into a lot of debt, and that could stick with them for the rest of their life. You don't want that to happen. If you're going to create generational wealth, you've got to get out of your debt aggressively, because the number one key to building generational wealth is making sure that you get yourself out of bad debt, so that way you can open up your cash flow to assets that are putting more money in you and your family's pocket. Listen, guys, if y'all get a lot of value from these free shows, you really should check out one of my programs. If this is how much value I'm giving y'all all for free, imagine how much I'm giving for my paid content. So if you want to take things to the next level, I invite you to my elite 12-month coaching program called Your Breakthrough Year. This is a special program that I've put together to show you how to reach your goals, make more money, and maximize your productivity. I'm breaking down step by step how the most successful people in the world manage their life to get world-class results. And so if you want to make sure that you do all you can to be on the side of the haves versus the have-nots, you need to join. I'm going to put the link in the comments below. Make sure that y'all check that out, okay? And I just also, for those of y'all that are watching this podcast after the live stream is over, I put the links for y'all to donate in the description below. All right. I love y'all. I thank y'all so much for tapping in with me. Please leave me a comment, y'all. Let me know what y'all want me to talk about in some of these future shows. You know, the brother Gabar, he left a comment last week and said that he wanted me to talk about passive income. I recently did a video about 10 proven ways to make passive income. I want to give you guys the content that you want to see. So do me a favor and leave me a comment right now with what you want some of these shows to talk about, so that way I can hold you down. My brother Akaman, he's focused on building his generational wealth. That's why he's bringing his lunch to work every day. Listen, y'all, this is not to say that y'all can't go out and have a good time. It's just to put everything in perspective. You got to make sure that you make smart decisions so that way your family can win over the long haul. Would you rather eat like a king for a day or a prince for a lifetime? I want y'all to tap in with me this Friday, y'all. We're going to be back on here on Friday, Lord willing. Stay tuned for that. I'll probably try to get on here around 4:30. I'm going to try, y'all. We'll see. I'm going to try real hard to be able to do it. Some of y'all know I've been doing these shows around 6-ish on Fridays, but I would like to do the show a little bit earlier. Either way, make sure that y'all are tapping in with me. Make sure that you smash that like button if you haven't yet done so. It don't cost you no money to do it, but it goes a very long way towards growing this channel. I want to give a big shout out to the official sponsor for tonight's show. From what I could see, that is my brother, W Israel. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate all the love. It really means a lot, man, that you're able to tap in with me on this night, and that you're able to pour into this platform, because there's so many people that will benefit from the content. Guys, if you get a lot of value from this channel, please make sure that you donate, because that's the only thing that keeps this channel going. All right. I'm going to see you all this Friday. Make sure that you stay focused. Until next time, keep pushing. Don't go out and get that new car. I'm going to be watching.